She's out. That text message from my brother Ryan sent ice through my veins. Barbara, the HOA tyrant who hit him with a metal chair during his asthma attack, was released from prison after just 1 year. Remember her? The woman who screamed. His coughing was too disruptive while he couldn't breathe. The same president whose violent outburst exposed her $300,000 embezzlement scheme. Last night, someone returned the infamous chair to my front porch with a note. Round 2 begins now. The security camera caught a luxury car with tinted windows but no plates. Our neighborhood had transformed after her imprisonment. The renamed Harris Community Center, gardens blooming with once forbidden flowers, neighbors actually speaking to each other. All that changed with Barbara's release. Her brother David started appearing at community meetings with 5 new residents who vote as a block. Mrs. Chen found her mailbox smashed, and Ryan discovered something terrifying. Barbara's scheme wasn't just about money, it was about the land beneath our homes, worth billions to the right people. The first sign something was wrong came during our spring community barbecue. David Morgan, Barbara's brother and co-conspirator who somehow avoided jail time with a plea deal, showed up uninvited. He circulated a petition for Barbara's compassionate
release, claiming she had developed severe health problems in prison. She's a changed woman, he insisted to Mrs. Chen, who just stared at him incredulously. It was a momentary lapse of judgment caused by undiagnosed medical issues. Medical
issues. The woman who mocked my brother's asthma attack was now using illness as her get-out-of-jail card. Ryan, who now owned a house 3 doors down from mine, pulled me aside. He's been approaching the parole board for months, he whispered. My contacts say Barbara has become a model prisoner, leading prayer groups, counseling sessions, the works. It's textbook manipulation. More disturbing were the 5 signatures already on David's petition, including our new HOA treasurer, Michael Wilson. The same Michael who had campaigned on transparency after Barbara's arrest. When confronted, Michael stammered about Christian forgiveness before hurrying away. That night, Ryan showed me what he'd been working on. Spread across his dining table were financial records, property deeds, and surveillance photos. David's been buying properties around the neighborhood through shell companies, he explained. 7 homes in the past year, all rented to new tenants who immediately joined the community association. The pattern was clear. Barbara might be in prison, but her network was methodically regaining control of our community. Ryan had discovered that Michael Wilson had received a mysterious $50,000 family inheritance 1 week before being elected treasurer. Things escalated when mysterious citations began appearing on homes of residents who had testified against Barbara. Mrs. Chen found her mailbox vandalized with "snitch" painted across it. Mr. Jensen's car was keyed the night after he publicly opposed Barbara's release. They're sending a message, Ryan said grimly. Cross us, and there will be consequences. The campaign of intimidation worked. At the next community meeting, attendance had dropped dramatically. David proposed revisiting some of Barbara's old policies, framing them as necessary financial adjustments. With his planted tenants voting as a bloc, the measures passed. Despite our objections, I found myself cornered in the parking lot afterward by 3 men I'd never seen before. Your brother should learn when to back off, one said casually. Some cases aren't worth pursuing. They walked away before I could respond, leaving me shaking in the dark. When I told Ryan, his face hardened. They're getting desperate. I've traced over $1.2 million through David's companies in the last year. This isn't just about controlling the neighborhood anymore. They're using our community to launder money for something bigger. The turning point came when Ryan received a package at his office. Inside was the same model of metal folding chair Barbara had used in her attack, miniaturized as a toy, with a note, looking forward to our reunion. The implied threat could not have been clearer. That evening, Ryan called an emergency meeting with trusted neighbors at Mrs. Chen's house. "Barbara's parole hearing is in 2 weeks," he explained. "If she gets out, everything we've built here will be at risk." He laid out the evidence of David's manipulation and the broader criminal enterprise they were running. "I need your help," Ryan admitted. "I can't stop this alone." The next day, David Morgan found a different kind of petition on his doorstep, a restraining order barring him from community property, signed by 28 residents. His response was immediate and chilling. That night, the Harris Community Center, our symbol of recovery from Barbara's reign, was broken into. The mounted chair with its plaque about compassion was stolen, and a new message was spray-painted on the wall. "The real enemy is already inside your homes." Security footage showed 3 masked figures, impossible to identify. But Ryan noticed something on the enhanced video. One intruder had a distinctive arm movement when spraying the paint, the exact same movement Michael Wilson used when gesturing during meetings. We now had a direct link between our supposedly reformed treasurer and the intimidation campaign. But before Ryan could take the evidence to the police, Michael Wilson called an emergency HOA meeting for the following evening. The agenda? A vote on using community funds for Barbara Morgan's legal defense and a motion to formally welcome her back to the neighborhood upon her release, which his sources claimed was now all but guaranteed. The emergency meeting that evening was a trap. As Ryan and I walked into the community center, we found ourselves facing not just Michael Wilson, but a room packed with David's tenants and a few unfamiliar faces in expensive suits. Security guards, not from our usual community service, flanked the doors. "This is a closed board meeting," Michael announced smugly. "Only board members and invited guests allowed." "Since when?" I demanded, but was immediately approached by 2 guards. That's when Ryan stepped forward. "Actually, I have an invitation." He handed Michael an envelope. "This is a federal warrant to seize all financial records of this association effective immediately." The room erupted. David lunged toward Ryan, only to be intercepted by agents who had been posing as residents for weeks. But in the chaos, Michael slipped out a side door. Ryan shouted for me to follow him while he coordinated the agents. I chased Michael to the parking lot, where he was frantically shoving papers into his car's trunk. When he saw me, his face contorted with panic. "You don't understand," he gasped. "They have my daughter." Before I could process this, a black SUV screeched into the lot. The back door flew open, and I glimpsed Barbara, not in prison, but right here, her hair perfectly highlighted again, seconds before something hard struck the back of my head. I woke up bound to a chair in what I recognized as David Morgan's basement. My throbbing head cleared enough to see Michael tied up beside me, his face bloodied. Across from us sat Barbara, examining the same chair she'd used to attack Ryan a year ago. "Missed this old thing?" She smiled, running her fingers along the metal frame. "Prison records are surprisingly easy to falsify when the warden's brother owes you favors." She hadn't been in prison for months. The early release petition, the intimidation campaign, all misdirection while she operated in the shadows. "Your brother thinks he's so clever," Barbara continued, standing over me. "Finding our money laundering operation, planting his federal friends in our neighborhood. But he missed the bigger picture." She leaned in close, her smile terrifying. "This was never about your precious community. It was about the land underneath it." "Fracking," Barbara continued, pacing with the chair dragging behind her. "Pinecrest Estates sits on one of the largest untapped natural gas reserves in the state. Worth billions, but completely inaccessible as long as there's a residential community here." The pieces suddenly clicked. The strange landscaping requirements, the expensive mailboxes, the arbitrary rule enforcement, they weren't just embezzlement schemes. They were designed to make living here so unbearable that people would sell their homes. "We've been buying properties through shell companies for 3 years," Barbara explained, almost proud of her scheme. "But after your brother's little stunt with my arrest, property values shot up. Community spirit," she sneered. "Disgusting." Michael whimpered beside me. "They have my daughter at another location. They promised if I helped, they wouldn't hurt her." Barbara shrugged. "Promises change. Speaking of which," she pulled out her phone and showed us a live stream of the community center. David and the men in suits were escorting Ryan out, not in handcuffs, but with guns discreetly pressed against his back. The federal agents were nowhere to be seen. "Your brother's federal agents never called for backup because they aren't federal agents," Barbara laughed. "Just some very expensive private security I hired to pose as feds. Your prosecutor brother walked right into it." My heart sank. We were completely outmatched. Barbara had orchestrated everything, the petition, the threats, Michael's betrayal, all to distract from her real plan. "By tomorrow morning, this whole neighborhood will be evacuated due to a mysterious gas leak," Barbara explained. "A tragic accident. The land value will plummet. My investors will buy the remaining properties for pennies, and then—" She made an explosion gesture with her hands. "The real money starts flowing." She picked up the chair, examining it lovingly. "Poetic that this is how it ends, isn't it? Last time I lost everything because of this chair. This time I win because of it." As she raised the chair, the basement door crashed open. Mrs. Chen stood there, wielding what appeared to be a garden hose connected to a tank. Before Barbara could react, Mrs. Chen sprayed her directly in the face with a cloud of fine powder. Barbara dropped the chair, screaming and clawing at her eyes. Behind Mrs. Chen came Mr. Jensen and several neighbors I recognized from our emergency meeting. "Capsaicin powder," Mrs. Chen explained calmly, untying me. "Much more effective than pepper spray. I developed it for self-defense classes after our HOA president attack went viral." Mr. Jensen, our retired sheriff, professionally restrained the incapacitated Barbara. "Your brother suspected something might go wrong," he explained. "Had us follow as backup. The real federal agents are at the community center now, and they're very real." As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a text from Ryan. "Got David, all safe. Where are you?" Within minutes, the basement was swarming with actual federal agents. One agent carefully bagged the chair as evidence, while another gently helped Michael to his feet. "Your daughter is safe," the agent assured him. "We found her at David's lake house. She's being checked by medics but appears unharmed." Michael collapsed in relief. "I tried to warn you," he sobbed. "When I discovered what they were planning, they took Emma. I had no choice." Barbara, still handcuffed and squinting painfully, snarled, "You have no proof of anything. It's my word against yours." That's when I noticed Mrs. Chen adjusting what looked like a decorative brooch on her cardigan. She caught my eye and winked. "Actually," she said, "we have everything recorded. I've been wearing this since Barbara's first attack on Ryan. Never leave home without it." She tapped the brooch, which I now recognized as a small camera. "I believe that's what you young people call receipts." At the federal building later that night, Ryan explained how the pieces fit together. Their shell company network wasn't just for buying houses. They've been bribing officials across 3 counties, including prison administrators. Barbara never spent more than a few weeks in actual confinement. The FBI had raided 7 locations simultaneously, recovering documents linking Barbara and David to a multinational energy conglomerate. Their plan wasn't just to destroy our neighborhood. It was to exploit a legal loophole that would have bypassed environmental regulations entirely. "The chair was her downfall again," Ryan said, shaking his head. Her obsession with that symbol of power made her predictable. We knew she'd want it back, so we removed it from the community center ourselves and replaced it with a tracked duplicate. When Barbara stole what she thought was her trophy, she actually brought a GPS tracker right to her hideout. The missing chair hadn't been stolen during the break-in. That was just theater for the security cameras. "What happens now?" I asked, exhausted but relieved. "Now?" Ryan smiled, putting his arm around Mrs. Chen. "Now we rebuild. Again. But better this time." As federal agents led Barbara past us toward a transport vehicle, she stopped, her eyes still red and swollen from the capsaicin. "This isn't over," she hissed. "People like you don't win against people like me." Mrs. Chen stepped forward, her small frame somehow towering in the moment. "That chair you hit Ryan with," she said softly. "We kept it to remind us that bullies exist. But we should have remembered the more important lesson, that communities can stand against them and win." As Barbara was led away in actual legitimate custody this time, the first light of dawn broke over our neighborhood in the distance. The community that had twice survived Barbara Morgan's reign of terror would now face a new day, stronger than ever. 6 months later, our community held a rededication ceremony for the Harris Chen Community Center, renamed to honor both my brother and the surprising hero who saved us all. The infamous chair now sits in a glass case with 2 plaques. The first still reads, a reminder that no rule is more important than compassion. The second, newer edition states, and no community is powerless against tyranny. Barbara and David Morgan both received 20-year sentences for conspiracy, fraud, attempted murder, and environmental crimes. Their corporate backers faced record-breaking fines, with the money going directly to environmental protection and community development. Michael Wilson, after testimony that helped convict 12 other conspirators, moved with his daughter to start fresh elsewhere. We don't blame him for his choices. We understood what it means to protect family. Most importantly, our community created a new governing structure with term limits, transparent finances, and a revolutionary concept, actual kindness as official policy. As for Ryan, he's now teaching a law course at the community college, environmental justice and community rights. His asthma is much better these days. Turns out stress from power-hungry HOA presidents is a significant trigger. If there's one lesson from all this, it's that the most dangerous weapon against corruption isn't just exposure, it's unity. Barbara never understood that the community she tried to control would ultimately be stronger than any chair she could swing.